even when a client does take the correct preparatory steps to obtain intellectual property protection, whether that's a trademark, a copyright, or a patent, a lot of folks don't understand that's not just a one and done type assignment. This requires ongoing attention and focus from the business, right?
That's exactly right. Especially if you have trademarks, copyrights, and patents. Those are very important to basically regularly check to see if anybody's infringing. So I actually owned a trademark at one point. I won't tell you what it is because I don't own it anymore. But it was part of my practice every couple of weeks is just do a Google search. Is there another company or another organization that's using my trademarked word? And if they were, does it potentially infringe upon the kind of business I'm doing? Because there's certain legal requirements you have to enforce a trademark and patents and those sorts of things. But generally speaking, if it will cause confusion in the marketplace, is like, oh, is this Koegle? But really it's another group that's using a word or a name or a function that's very similar to what you have specifically sold for years. You need to be checking the market to see if there are people using your process, using your marks, using your patents. Because if you don't, and you don't regularly try to enforce those marks, you can lose them. So just going to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, for example, and trademarking your name as, well, this is my company name and this is the kind of business we do. And then, 6 months later, a company down the road takes a very similar sounding name. If you don't send them a cease and desist letter, demanding that they change their name, frankly threaten to take them to litigation if they don't do what you're asking, or come to some other arrangement with them, you're not enforcing or protecting your mark anymore. And the court, if it comes to litigation down the road, the court's not necessarily going to allow you to keep that mark. They're going to say you abandoned it because you didn't affirmatively go out there and protect that mark. And the same thing is true of trade secrets. Patents are often a part of trade secreted information. They might describe a general process, but they don't get into the weeds, so you can't necessarily replicate the process. This happens in IT all the time. Software companies will patent computer code or processes that code uses. And they're often sometimes called design patents. And if a company comes along that's selling a software that's very similar to yours, you will have to look at that code and find out, okay, are they using the same process? Did they borrow from my patent in order to accomplish this task that I thought only I had figured out? And if you don't do something about that, if you don't go out there and say, hey, you stole this from me and try to protect it, the court's not going to do it for you. A lot of the things we're talking about require the business owner to basically mind their business. Yes. Yes. And I don't mean keep it to themselves, but I mean pay attention to it. Not in just their own business, but what their competitors are doing, and not just their competitors in town, for example, or in state, but across the country. You need to be paying attention to that if you have especially trademarked, patented information on the federal level. Because if you're not protecting it across state lines, no court's going to do it for you.
And for those businesses that are too busy to do it themselves because they're busy within their business doing what they do best, this is why it's important to have legal counsel looking out for you who can help you design a plan to make sure that you're taking steps to protect these trade secret and proprietary information.
We can set up a schedule where, our office will go out and try to find competition or people who are infringing on your marks or your patents or your other proprietary information and do that work for you. But the point of the matter is that you need to be protecting it somehow, because if you're not, no one else is going to do it for you. And in fact, they'll take it from you.
That's right.